Welcome, everybody. Perfect timing on that. My coffee went down the wrong way. Welcome, everybody, to the Exes podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Therese.
And we are the Exes. And we bring this podcast every week or every other week. And we talk about everything from relationships. We've done true crime episodes, which we're going to have a lot to talk about in true crime coming up pretty soon, because there's still a lot of activity going on with our favorite crazy family, the Daybells. So we'll talk more about that and get you up to date on some other crimes. And it seems like the psychos are stepping it up a bit, Therese. We've got a few people out there that are pretty wackadoo with the things they're doing. So we may have some good crime to follow soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trouble is, lately they've been big cases, like very involved cases.
Yeah. But if there's something you want us to address, then let us know. But again, we talk about relationships. We started this whole show just to try to prove to people and show people, listen, just because the relationship ends, don't throw everything away, because there could still be a really great friendship in there. And these days, friends are hard to come by. And I mean that seriously. You meet a lot of people, you have a lot of acquaintances, maybe some buddies and stuff. But to have true friendship is really hard to keep. And that's why it's so important that Therese and I have our friendship and that we share it with you guys and let you know. Just because we're exes, it doesn't mean everything is bad. We certainly had problems, and we're willing to discuss those as well. But don't ever give up the opportunity to keep a friend and to gain a friend, because they're in short supply these days. The world is closed off, it seems like. It used to be people were out all the time, and you saw people all the time, and everybody was always together. And the world has changed a lot, hasn't it, Therese?
It has. There isn't as much socialization anymore.
No. And people don't stick together the way they used to. I mean, you have your group of girlfriends from grade school that you still are friends with. As a matter of fact, it was Melissa's birthday yesterday, right? Teresa. I don't know. You don't have a friend named Melissa.
No, I do have a friend named Melissa, but she's not from that younger.
Oh, okay. But it was your friend Teresa's birthday, who Teresa was going to be on the show. We're still hoping one day she will be.
Yeah, she will.
And, certainly you got a couple other friends that might be on the show sometime. That'd be awesome. But, here we go. This is what we wait for each night. Hi, kids.
Hi.
This is from Sandy Mom listening in. So this past 2 weeks has been a little rough, because a couple days after we did our last show, which we had a lot of fun with. We had fun with Mary Kay. We had Kellen on. We talked about relationships and men and women. A short while after that, we lost an actor of our generation, somebody that we really bonded with through the TV and through their show. Matthew Perry from Friends passed away, and he was only 54 years old, I believe.
Yeah, 54.
And to my knowledge, Therese, I've heard nothing different other than heart failure. Apparently, he was doing some activities, went in a hot tub, and then had some heart failure. Is that what we know so far?
That's what we know so far, yeah.
Okay. So although Matthew Perry had a very, very difficult past with alcohol addiction and alcoholism, and he had multiple attempts at recovery, and he fell off the wagon a lot. This past several years, he has been sober, and he has been doing a lot of good things in his community, right?
Right. Wrote his book, too.
He wrote a book, I believe it's called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Ugly Thing. Is that what it was?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And the Big Ugly Thing. And I think that's, when he says the Big Ugly Thing, he was talking about his addiction. And how he had all this stuff, and he used to be on shows, and he would talk about, and he would watch past episodes of himself, and he would cringe watching them, because although we're watching Chandler from Friends, one of the best characters ever developed for television, right up there with Jim Ignatowski from Taxi and Woody from Cheers. I mean, he was so iconic in his delivery and everything. Funny, but when he saw it, he didn't see the humor. He saw the pain that he was going through at the time. He really connected with that.
He said
Did
he
you
could
know?
tell you how deep he was in his addiction by his weight during that season.
Yeah. Now, when he was really, really thin, that's when the addiction was at its worst, right?
That's when the pills were at their worst. But then I believe he said when he was a little heavier and looked a little bloated at certain seasons, that's when his alcoholism was
Yeah.
a little out of control. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very sad. I got to ask you, at the time, now you've been a friend's, lack of a better word, a friend's junkie. Because you love the show. Was it from the very beginning of the
Yeah.
first season?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people pick up shows like that. Oh, I went back and watched the first season, but I didn't watch it when it was first on. You watched it from the beginning.
I watched it from the beginning. Yeah. I caught it when it was first coming out. And it was part of the Thursday night lineup, you know, because it was Friends and then Mad About You, I think.
Yeah, that was part of it.
And then like Cheers and Frasier. And then there was some nighttime soap opera thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got a good memory of that. That's good. That's at the time watching it, obviously the first time around. Now, you would have been quite young. When
did it start? 90 something. Is that 94? 94. So really I was had 2 kids and was divorced. So I wasn't that young.
She had 2 kids and was divorced and was 14 years old. So that's the kind of life she lived. No, I'm kidding.
94. No, maybe I was just separated, actually. Maybe that's why I got to touch it from the beginning.
Graduated around 84 or 18, 10 years from that. So would have been about 28.
Yeah.
27, 28 when it first started.
Yeah.
Okay. No clue that there was that kind of stuff going on. The whole time you watched that show, did you know there was something happening with Matthew Perry? Were you aware of that at all, or were people even talking about it?
No, I don't believe then. But I noticed in a couple of the later seasons, I was worried that he was ill because he had been so skinny.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything had come out yet about anything addiction-wise for him.
And it's strange, just so you understand, with issues of mental health and addiction, especially when it comes to people who lean towards the comedic side of life, which are the Matthew Perrys, who leans into his comedy as a coping mechanism. Robin Williams was much the same way. Mm-hmm. It is very difficult for somebody from the outside to look at it and see all the pain and suffering because they exude so much joy for us.
Right.
You know, and it's pretty sad that way, isn't it?
It is because you learn that they were suffering behind all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's tough. And maybe it's a good lesson for all of us that when we have a friend who might be having a problem or a family member who might be having a problem, and it's like, well, they seem okay. That could really just be a facade, or that could just be a covering of what's going on. If you truly suspect there's something going on, it's better to take the risk and see if you can help them instead of just assuming that they're okay. Because with addiction, alcoholism, and mental health, there's this incredible way of masking it on the outside. Mm-hmm. So we got to be very careful about that. I'm not saying we could have changed a lot for Matthew Perry, because he did make multiple attempts at recovery. We're talking in the high 30s times at trying to go through rehab and treatment, and that's a lot. And at the end of the day, I do believe, and we can't confirm this medically yet, and I'm sure it will be confirmed, that just all the years of damage, he had multiple surgeries too, like 7 or 8 surgeries, all related to
abdominal surgery.
Yeah, related to his drinking and drugging. His body finally gave out. I mean, he had a day of a workout. After the workout, he gets in a hot tub, and he has a heart failure, a heart attack, if you will, a coronary event. And and I guess he was alone. Is that what you understand?
That's what I understand. He had sent his assistant out on some errands.
Right.
So
Right. He also made some good movies. He made some movies that not too memorable, but he made a great movie called where he married that woman after just a few days of knowing her.
The Whole Nine Yards.
No. That was one with Bruce Willis. This was called
Fools Rush In.
Fools Rush In. Fools Rush In was a great film. He actually considered it his best film. And one of the cool things about that film that a lot of people don't know is that the man who played his father in the movie was his father.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
that actor is his real father,
mm-hmm.
and his real father has had multiple roles in soap operas, in movies. He's a great character actor. He's been around. When you see him, you're like, well, I've seen him in 100 places because he's that kind of guy. But you know what people don't know, and I didn't know, was his stepfather is Keith Morrison.
I knew that.
From what? 2020 or 60 Minutes, whichever show.
No, Dateline.
Same thing, all the same.
No.
It's all about how women kill their men. That's they're all the same now. Yeah, Dateline. Absolutely. And you know, so I was a little shocked by that. So he was surrounded by good people. He had people that loved him and cared for him. But when it comes to mental health and addiction, this is no joke. We need to deal with that. And we've got, Gene is with us. Gene Ritchie is with us, and married the Mexican. Yeah, that's the movie we're talking about. And when the families met together, that was really, really funny. It was really, really funny.
I don't think I saw that movie, honestly.
Oh, you know what? It's a movie worth watching. I think Selma Hayek played the.
I think I read that, but I don't think I saw the movie. But you know what I also read recently was that he was in a few episodes of The West Wing, which I did not realize.
And so was his father.
I want to try to go find that.
Yeah, I read that the other day. He was in West Wing for a few walk-ons and cameos, if you will. His father was also on West Wing about the same number of times, but they never appeared on the same show. They were just different parts.
Oh. Okay.
You know, did you see the movie where he was the teacher? I didn't know he did a movie where he was a teacher.
No.
Actually, no. You know what, Gene? I saw a clip the other day of him being a teacher, but I didn't know what movie that was. If anybody knows what movie he was in when he played a teacher, that would be interesting to know. Catch up on some of the work of Matthew Perry. I think that's pretty cool. As you can see, we are coming to you from Central Perk. The background is Central Perk. And from the show Friends. Therese, the show Friends was just phenomenal in what they were able to do, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's like a cult classic. Like, I don't know. Even my younger girls are very much into it.
Yeah.
Emily watches it quite often. Tara does not mind if I put it on. She'll laugh along with me. It stands the test of time because it hasn't been on TV in what? Since 2004?
I don't even know how long it's been. They've been off because it's still on everywhere you look.
I know. But officially, I think it was 20 years ago. Almost.
And you had, ladies and gentlemen, Teresa's the true fan. She had the box DVD set of all of the seasons.
Yeah.
It was one of those shows that from beginning to end, it developed. And it stood the test of time because it was about relationships, and it didn't like pin itself into any particular period of time. It's what happened under Thanksgiving episodes can happen this Thanksgiving coming up. And by the way, if you have not had the joy of binge watching the Thanksgiving episodes on Thanksgiving Day, that is a joy.
That was fun,
especially the one with Brad Pitt, right? Your personal. Favorite?
Yeah. Personal favorite. Yeah. You're glitching a little. Why are you glitching a little?
I'm not sure. I think the weather's good, and I've got a strong signal.
Are you
so it might be on your end.
But it's you. It's you that's skipping.
Well, you mean like me personally? Like as a person, I'm skipping?
Oh, I don't think you personally, but
it's been a long day. It's possible.
All right.
All right. Gene wants to know who was the one who put the turkey on their head?
Joey.
That was Joey. That's right. Although there was another person who put a turkey on their head.
Monica.
Monica. That's right. Because she was trying to make Chandler
laugh.
Yes. Yeah. The Ron Perry story is the name of the movie.
Where he was a teacher?
Where he was a teacher.
Okay.
So that's something we could look up. We're going to have to look that up. All right. Excellent. Yeah. So it stood the test of time. It's still on today. We were going to bring up some facts and talk a little bit about, some of the episodes, push the envelope a little bit and probably would not be appropriate today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're saying appropriate. Why? Because people are so hypersensitive today, or explain. You went into this.
I think so. I'll give you one example, right? When Phoebe had the stalker. So now that we've learned about more stalking issues, harassment, those type of things, I don't think that would fly as well today. I think they would get in trouble for that kind of storyline.
You're right. You're right, because people are like, well, you can't make fun of stalking. Stalking is a serious problem, and it's, and back then it was, although certainly we understood it's not cool to stalk people, right. We were able to laugh at it a little bit more. We didn't take it as personal. And right. It was David Arquette who was the stalker.
It was.
Now, is that when he met Courtney Cox? Or had they met before
no.
on the show?
I think they met on Scream first, right? Okay. But they may have been dating at the time that he was on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But David Arquette was on a lot of showed up several times. I mean, well, I think he showed up one other time.
Did he?
Maybe he didn't.
I don't know if he did. He was.
There were other people that did multiple. Sean Penn was on a couple of episodes.
Sean Penn, I think, was only on one. Charlie Sheen was on one.
Charlie Sheen was on an episode. When we look at the people who guest starred on Friends, I don't think any other show had that list of guest stars with that much power. When you have Billy Crystal and Robin Williams coming in just to do a 3-minute opening scene and really and then walk off, and that's it. But they did that. People believed in this show. That's why they kept showing up, I think, right?
Yeah. I mean, that was all improv.
Yeah.
The actors actually didn't know what they were going to do or say.
Yeah. Both Sandy and Gene said Tom Selleck. I mean, there's a big star that ended up on that show.
There's a big star. Yeah. Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, definitely.
Who took no money for the episode. He lost a bet to Matthew Perry.
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts, yep.
Oh, wait a minute. What'd you say? Bruce Willis lost a bet? That's how he ended up on the show?
He lost a bet to Matthew Perry when they did the whole 9 yards. Something about Matthew Perry said it was going to be a box office hit or something, and Bruce said no. So he lost the bet, and he as part of the bet, he agreed to come on, and he didn't take any money for that episode.
Wow.
But his performance on there, because he was on a few times.
Right. And by the way, prayers go out to Bruce Willis. Obviously, he's not in good shape, not doing very well at all. And it's just a horrible disease he's dealing with, where he's now lost the ability to talk, and that's not good.
No, it's sad.
Just very sad. Terry Garr is another one that showed up on the show.
Yeah, she played Phoebe's mom.
She was Phoebe's mom. Morgan Fairchild was on the show.
Was Morgan Fairchild on the show? Oh, yes. The Chandler's mother.
Chandler's mother, and then
I was thinking of Morgan Freeman for a minute. I'm like, wait.
Morgan Fairchild was Chandler's mother, and then Chandler's father was played by
Kathleen Turner,
who is a cross-dresser, and
Elliot Gould.
What wonderful role he played as Monica and Ross's father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt. You know, we have to say Brad Pitt because
Brad
it's
Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Um,
The one that played Phoebe's brother too. He was really funny.
Giovanni Ribisi, I think his name is.
I don't know, but he's like a character actor. He's been in a lot of stuff.
He's been in a lot of stuff, and he was in a movie called The Boiler Room where he had a starring role, and he was really, really good in that. Really good. Yeah, he's an excellent character actor. Excellent character actor.
Oh, Reese Witherspoon. And Christina Applegate.
Yes.
Lots of guest stars.
So many guest stars. But again, it's a show that, not other shows. There's not many shows that can attract that. Cheers used to be like it ruled the world for a while. Cheers did. And every once in a while they'd have somebody show up, a little bit of star power. But I can't think of any show other than a variety show that brought that much star power, season after season. I think season 1, I'm not sure anybody showed up with star power.
They had a very small budget season 1.
Season 1, as a matter of fact, in season 1, they didn't even know the name of the show when they first got the cast together.
No.
They were going to call it Insomnia Cafe, Friends Like Us, 6 of 1. These were the options. And then they just kind of like fell onto Friends. And it was supposed to be a 4-person show. Chandler and Phoebe were supposed to be like additional characters, not part of the cast.
Yeah, like friends that pop by sometimes.
Yeah, and then but they immediately add them in. Big Bang Theory had the same thing happen, where they had characters that would come in that they thought, well, this will just be a walk-on part for a couple of episodes, and then they just became part of the cast. And we saw that with Bernadette and other people on that show. But yeah, Friends.
Amy too. I think Amy was supposed to be a limit. I think she was only supposed to be a short, couple of episodes.
Do you think there was some magic in the chemistry of the actors and the characters that were created?
I think there must have been, right? They all became good friends. They all stuck together in their negotiations. I think that they all got along with the writers very well. And they had definitely Matthew Perry had some input. I heard that he kind of nixed the idea of Chandler ending up cheating on Monica.
Oh, they wanted to do that.
They were, that was floated around as one of the options, and he said, no, we can't do that to them.
So they pushed it off on Ross and made Ross cheat on Rachel.
Ross cheat on everybody.
We were on a break. Was Bette Midler on the show? Yeah, I guess she was.
I don't know.
I do remember Bette Midler being on the show. I forgot why. Yeah, thank you, Gene. That was a good one. That's a very good one.
I don't remember her. There was that British sounding lady.
Yeah, well, she was Stifler's mom from American Pie and ended up on it. She was the nail technician on
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde, yeah.
Yes.
So I forgot her name. Jennifer Coolidge is her name.
Okay.
She was on the show.
And then Danny DeVito was on.
Danny DeVito. Oh, Bette Midler was on Seinfeld. Okay, that was a mistake. I apologize.
All right, yeah. I know. I didn't remember her.
Danny DeVito went on, and not only did Danny DeVito go on the show, he went on the show as a male stripper. Come on.
I know.
Come on. Funny. You don't do that unless the show is something special. It was just, Jennifer Saunders was the name, not Coolidge. Jennifer Saunders. It was special. And I think the characters, they weren't exactly what they thought they would be. One of the characters actually kind of became what it was because that's what the actress was. And that was apparently Courtney Cox is a lot more like Monica than usually actors are to their characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, on that reunion too, they were saying that the writers would bring them in one by one and kind of like talk to them about their life. And then a few episodes later, some of those things would show up in the show as part of their character's personality or one of the other characters.
Ah, okay. Yeah, but that was so brilliant because these people were all so different. Just looking at them as actors and actresses, they're all such completely different people, and they found a way to meld that together.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, none of them liked the theme song, one of the most iconic theme songs of all time. So no one told you life was gonna be this way. And, I always thought there was 4 claps. There's only 3. Yeah, and apparently none of them liked the song.
And they didn't like that fountain scene either.
It reminded them of Dancing in the Fountain, and they said they never liked that. They didn't think it had anything to do with the show, and it didn't make any sense.
And they were freezing, apparently. It was very cold that night.
Yeah. And that was not shot in New York, so you cannot look for that fountain in New York. That was shot in Los Angeles.
Right.
So do not look for the fountain in New York, although they did move the sofa to New York for the special. So that was one of the things that went on there. There's so many different pieces here. And again, there were only supposed to be 4 of them. They ended up becoming 6. Was there other episodes that you thought would be inappropriate today?
Yeah. I'm looking. Monica, okay. The way that they kind of body shamed her and made a lot of fat jokes, those were like well, actually they were peppered through the whole entire series because they used to joke about how heavy she was when she was younger.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would fly so well these days.
No, I agree with you. I think that would probably fall under body shaming, and putting on the fat suit and dancing around, probably inappropriate. But again, but is it? She wasn't trying to make fun of fat people. She was trying to create a character that used to be heavy and then got thin. In the issues she had with that, she did bring forward the issues that she had with that in some of those things. So I mean, here's a good point. Could you do ugly fat guy, ugly naked guy? Could you use those terms? Could you call him an ugly naked guy today?
I mean, you could probably call him an ugly naked guy, but maybe not ugly naked fat guy. And that's what they called him.
The ugly naked fat guy. And it was naked fat guy, sometimes ugly naked fat guy. Yeah. And they'd do things like poke him with a stick and do stuff like So, I mean, I don't know that the stuff would fly anymore.
Monica did sleep with a high school student.
That's true.
Ross did date a student when he was a professor.
Right.
I think that's about it. There were a lot of like gay jokes and things like that. Oh, and Frank and Alice. That big age gap.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, you still see that though. So I guess that probably would be all right.
But then asking his sister to have his baby and then, Phoebe explaining to guys, I have my brother's kids. And, that was kind of cool. There were a lot of different characters that popped up as well, like that were beloved. And I do believe he's passed on now. Gunther, did he die?
He did.
Yeah, he passed on. He had an illness.
Cancer, I believe. Yeah.
The funny thing about Gunther is that he owned the coffee shop, or he was the barista. He wasn't the one at the beginning. At the beginning, they had 1 or 2 different guys that would come in and be like the owner and boss people around and be the
Terry.
boss.
Remember Terry?
Yeah.
But Gunther, really, they found him. He was a real barista.
He was. Yeah, I was just going to say he was a real barista, and he came on the show. And the really cool thing about a good show like that is they can take little moments and make them so important. The way Gunther would walk up to Rachel to say something to her, tell her he loved him, but then get cut off by something that happens and just have that look on his face come over his face. Yeah. And just have those priceless moments. Yeah. So that was really kind of interesting that he was a real barista. Also, Hank Azaria came on the show a couple times.
Yes.
He was one of Phoebe's boyfriends. Oh, and she married Mike, who was Paul Rudd.
Oh, yes.
Paul Rudd was a huge part of the show.
He was a huge part of the show.
Hank Azaria was glad to be part of the show. He appeared on the show afterwards, which was, like you said,
Mad About You.
Mad About You. But Hank Azaria was actually, he auditioned for the part of Joey and got turned down.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard that. He also said that Matthew Perry accompanied him to his first AA meeting.
Wow. How incredible is that?
And sober like 12 years or something now.
In all the time of the show, only one person of color, Ross's girlfriend.
That's true. That is true. That would probably be an issue today.
Oh, she was played by the fantastically funny, what's her name?
Aisha
Taylor. Mm-hmm. And, who went on to host Whose Line Is Anyway. She was also had a major role in Criminal Minds for a while. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was that. I don't remember. There might have been a few people here or there that were sprinkled in, but to have any real character of color, I think that was the only one. I think she's right.
I think she's right. I think she was, yeah.
Now, that would probably be more inappropriate than anything that you've mentioned. They would look at that and say, we've got to have a black person. We've got to have a Hispanic person. We've got to have an Asian person. And sometimes we get a little too carried away with that. But I think they probably would have worked a little harder to probably spread that out a bit.
Yeah, probably. I would think so. I would think so. But it was different times back then, I just thought of something too.
They did have the characters did admit to in a Cosmopolitan interview that they did have to do an intervention on one of the cast members.
Oh,
do you know who it was?
Jennifer Aniston.
It was Jennifer Aniston. They had to have an intervention because she was always late for everything. And it was starting to really upset the cast and the crew and the producers and the directors and they had to have an intervention. It wasn't malicious. She just always ran behind, apparently. Is that what we understand?
Yeah. Yeah. I think they ended up calling it Jennifer time. I could probably see that. Yeah. There's always one in a group that's always late for everything, right? Like I have people that I know, if I tell them a certain time, I've got an extra 15 minutes because they're going to be late.
Right. Let's see. She was doing her hair.
Oh my God. That's another thing. The Rachel haircut. That took off.
Look, yeah, absolutely. Jennifer Aniston probably came out of that as the biggest star, I think. I think if you had to go and look at it and say who had the greatest star power and the greatest sellability, I guess, if you will, or marketability.
Yeah.
She came out of that definitely on top.
Yeah. Probably.
It's like Charlie's Angels. At the end of the day, everybody remembers Farrah Fawcett. Nobody remembers Jill. Okay. I mean, it's kind of what happened. But in this show now, David Schwimmer, everybody went on and they did other projects. As a matter of fact, a lot of people forget that Matt, there was two Matts on the show. There's Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc. Mm-hmm. And, it's kind of funny when they'd say Matty, nobody knew who they were talking to, but Matt LeBlanc went on to do a lot of things, and he actually had a very successful show with that show. He did Rules. No, Men.
Man with a Plan.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty. He was on that for, I think it ran for like 5 seasons or something.
Yeah.
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 David Schwimmer, yeah, he's done some. Well, he did some theater work, I guess, for a while before he showed back up on film. Lisa Kudrow has done some movies. I think Courtney and Jennifer both did fairly well after. She had all the Scream series. She also had her own show, Dirt.
Wasn't she the Desperate Housewives?
No, it was called Dirt. And then there was another one, Cougar Town.
Cougar Town. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So she had 2 post Friends series.
Yeah. So I guess Courtney did well. Not a fan of the plastic surgery.
No.
I don't want to. I'm not slamming anybody. You want to do it, you do it. But she didn't need it.
No, she didn't need it. She's a beautiful woman. She didn't need it.
Jennifer Aniston looks very similar to the way she did. I'm sure she probably had a little Botox and some other things and some minor.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But yeah, Courtney just went way too far where she actually changed how she looks. And I don't like it when people do that, when they change how they look. But that's my opinion, and it's I don't have to live with their face; they have to.
Well, she actually has stopped all of that now because she realized that it was not the way she wanted it to be.
Oh yeah.
So but you can't do anything but let it kind of fade on its own, right? If you get those fillers and stuff, those semi-permanent ones.
Some of the stuff she had done is not going to change. She had her cheekbones higher, the dick changed and stuff. Some of that stuff is not going to get fixed, but if at least she stopped herself before she went full Lisa Rinna on us, with the huge lips and everything else. Here's a little thing. What is the most iconic piece of furniture in Friends?
It's got to be the sofa, right?
The sofa in the coffee house, right?
Yeah.
They found that in the basement at Warner Brothers Studio.
Yeah,
in the corner of a basement. It was an old ratty sofa that they brought out for the show, because, like you said, that limited budget.
Yeah.
It is just the whole thing about hanging out at Central Perk. I'm actually excited because in the plaza that's right outside my neighborhood here, we've got Winn-Dixie, we got other things in the plaza. But they just opened a place called the Wild Mug. It's a coffee shop.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of a place where you can go in and sit down and hang out and drink coffee. I'm kind of excited about. They're almost ready to open, so I'm really excited. I might be able to hang out like friends.
Oh, cool.
Maybe I'll bring my guitar and I'll sing "Smelly Cat."
There you go. That would be funny, right? Just start playing that.
Yeah. Oh my God! I did not know this. David Schwimmer ended up on the new Will and Grace show.
I didn't know there was a new Will and Grace show.
They tried to revive it. Oh. No good. And Gene made a good point. Meg Ryan did not fare well with her plastic surgery either. Yes.
No, she didn't.
Meg Ryan was beautiful, and then I don't know what happened. Phoebe played the guitar on a lot of episodes. She hated the guitar.
Yeah. She wanted it to be drums originally. Drums, I think.
That would make a lot of sense. Doing a solo gig in a place with drums.
Yeah, really.
There's just so many different things.
Not very well. David Schwimmer did not like working with the monkey.
He what?
He did not like working with the monkey, Marcel.
You know what? That was one of when the episodes that the monkey is in, I don't even like watching those shows.
I mean, I'll watch them, but there's definitely more favorites. I don't think they needed that.
They didn't need it. It was a gimmick, and it felt like a gimmick. Sometimes even great shows make mistakes, and they pull something out, and they're like, jumping the shark, if you will. Let's give them something special. Let's bring a monkey into New York City and have Marcel the monkey.
But now the one where Rachel accidentally reported the monkey missing to animal control, that was a pretty good episode. That was pretty funny.
Well, that was a good one because the animal control officer was hilarious. Whoever played that person.
Yeah, she was funny, and then Phoebe was funny.
Yeah,
but she got shot by the dart, and that was a funny episode. But yeah,
it was a funny episode.
Too long.
But when you've got that kind of great interaction, the reason I watched that show was to watch the way Chandler talked to Joey and Joey talked to Rachel and Rachel talked to Monica. And I wanted to see those interactions because they did it so seamlessly and brilliantly. Mm-hmm. Ross, the way he developed that slow kind of drawl in his voice for the part where he just, would overemphasize words and do things like that. Joey, with just being Joey.
How you doing?
If you watch the first episode, Joey, and then you get into the end of the first season, beginning of season 2, it's 2 different Joeys. The first episode, Joey, is this overconfident, kind of street guy. He's going to be an actor, but he's kind of a street guy, and he's kind of like tough, and he's overconfident. But they brought in a lot of insecurities and all these weird things into Joey. And they made that character. They made good decisions, and they didn't stick with the Bacha Galoot. They brought in more of the hungry actor who's really unsure of his own talent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was brilliant. And Joey's dumb moments were some of the best moments on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Actually love the duck.
I didn't mind the duck. The chick and the duck, I didn't mind the chick and the duck. They were cute. They were cute.
It didn't bother me as much as the monkey. But still, the duck, I mean, come on. So there's so many good things about this show. It left an impression on me. It left an impression on Therese. And, from your comments, I know it's left an impression on you. And again, we're talking about Friends because it was such an iconic show. It was a show that would not have worked had one of those people not been there. I can't imagine it working without the exact characters as they were played, as they were written, and as the actors themselves helped develop those characters. And a big part of that was Chandler Bing, kind of a cross between Dick Van Dyke and Don Rickles. He would trip over furniture. He would do the pratfall and stuff, and then he would insult people in a way. He would insult you so hard that you want to laugh. He would say the most absurd things. And it was just such a brilliant character. I don't think there's another character like it that I can compare him to.
No, I don't think so. He had some great one-liners. And some of those, some of the funniest parts of Chandler were actually brought in by Matthew Perry, like ad-libbed at the time. And then they decided it was funny and they keep it. I mean, he would just throw it out there. He was like working with Robin Williams in a lot of ways. When you think about it, they would give him a direction. But like you said, the writers talk to the character or the actors about the direction of the show because the actors brought so much of their personal self into those parts. I think that's kind of what's missing from certain shows that don't make it. When you don't feel like it's believable for that person, right? Right.
Every one of the people on Friends, whether it was Phoebe, Rachel, Monica, Ross, Chandler, Joey, you could look at them and say, I could see that person existing. I could see that's the real person.
Yeah.
Not the Married with Children, Al Bundy, who's over the top, kind of like stupid, ignorant kind of thing. Not anything like that. Even on Cheers, some of the things were just so unbelievable. And, but on that show, they just made it work. Now, here's the question. What was Chandler's job on Friends?
Oh, my gosh. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what he actually did. He ended up in marketing.
Yes.
But before that, I don't even know what that job was supposed to be. Some kind of job with numbers.
He transposed. He was a transponder. I remember. Yeah, they would even how they can film a whole half of an episode in his office, and you still walked away not knowing what the hell he did. Was an amazing thing.
I know, it's crazy.
They met his bosses. He would be filling out annual reports, and he would tell his coworkers, "I need the weenus, and I got to have the weenus to fill out the numbers." And he's got all this stuff going on, and you're still like, he's not really an accountant.
No, I don't think so.
He was something. And it was amazing. And the fact that they never really told you what it was brilliant. I thought that was brilliant.
Right, because they never really clarified it. right?
Do you wonder if maybe the writers actually tried to figure it out and they couldn't?
Maybe they really didn't know what he was supposed to do.
They're like, well, we made him do all this shit. What does that mean?
I know, right?
And again, speaking of side characters, like you had the barista, Gunther, who took on a role of his own, and different characters every once in a while would come on. They would have a role of their own, and it would just seem like they. We have to mention Janice.
Yeah, Janice.
And the play on the New York accent and oh my God,
Oh, so you did that very well.
Yeah, well, I'm a little stuffed up. I've been talking all day because I've been training.
I actually heard her on an interview talking normal. And I was like, wait a minute. Who's that?
So she doesn't talk like that.
No.
Because if
not that strong, no.
I assume she would be like, I assume she'd be like the nanny Fran Drescher, because Fran Drescher on the show, the nanny, had that terrible, terrible nasal tone in her voice. But she actually does have that in real life.
Yeah.
So
Janice is not so much. It is way exaggerated for her role as Janice. The same is with the girl that plays Bernadette on The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, yeah.
She talks nothing like her character.
Yeah, her character has that mousy little pipsqueak voice.
Yeah, and
he doesn't have that.
Not at all.
Not at all. And it's like when you see somebody who's a great actor or actress do a movie, and you're totally sold into them, and then you catch them on a talk show and they got a freaking British or an Australian accent. You're like, where the hell did that come from?
I know.
Wolverine has an Australian accent. That blows my mind.
The janitor guy, he also passed away from Friends.
Oh, the heavy guy with the curly hair
that played Trigger, yeah. So he passed away in the last couple of years.
Yeah, there was a great series or a great show centered on him, and he deserved it. He was a good character, where Joey helped him learn to dance.
Oh yeah,
and the two of them were dancing. Yeah, it was really, really cute. They didn't shy away from talking about anything they wanted to talk about. They didn't shy away from really exploring their characters. They didn't shy away from bringing people in. I mean, I think some people would be intimidated having Robin Williams and Crystal. Billy, I was going to say Billy Joel. That's no. Robin Williams and Billy Crystal. Some characters probably get way overwhelmed with that to have them on the show. Then they say, okay, you just had two of the all-time comedy greats ever to exist. Open your show. Now go do your acting. And they didn't shy away from that. And I applaud them for that. Yeah. I love the fact that they weren't afraid to explore the relationships.
They had the first lesbian wedding on TV.
I always felt bad that Joey never found love.
Yeah, but Joey wasn't ever supposed to, right? He's supposed to be the forever child.
But Monica got Chandler, and Ross got Rachel, and Phoebe got Mike. Mm-hmm. And, I was really just kind of hoping that maybe even towards the last episode, maybe Joey would be like, everybody's all together. And then he looks and he sees somebody across the room. You see his eyes light up. And at least you can imagine there's something for him. But,
I think that would have been expected, though. I think it's good that they left him the sole single person.
Now, they talked about doing a reunion show. Now, they've done a reunion where they've gotten together to talk, which, by the way, I don't know if you can still catch it. I think it is still on HBO Max.
It is.
So if you haven't watched that, watch it, because they give you a lot of great insight, chance to listen to Matthew Perry. Although Matthew Perry does not bring his addiction into that conversation, but they do talk about some of the great times they had. And it's a great show. I think people were always hoping that one day there would be some sort of the Bradys got back together for a very Brady Christmas, and maybe there would be something. I guess that day is now gone, and it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen, but it was never going to happen anyway because the writers didn't want to do it and the actors didn't want to do it in that way. They agreed to the reunion and talk about different clips, and they even talked about what they thought their characters went on to do.
That's true. That's true.
But they did not want to. What did one of them say? Nobody wants to see a show about people in their 40s. I mean, what are you going to do, right?
Screw you.
But I mean, it just wasn't, because the premise of it was young people, young single adults in their 20s living in New York City, the funnest city in the whole world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the start of the show. So I think they ended it at a good spot where everybody was starting to get married, starting to settle down and have kids, because that's naturally what happens usually as you transcend from your 20s to your 30s.
Yeah, exactly. Jeannie said, I was always hoping for a Monkees reunion. That would have been sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But I did see their 25th anniversary tour. I got to see them play live. So that was cool for the Monkees. But I agree with you, Teresa. I mean, I think they would have pushed it too hard to try to come up with something. They wrote brilliantly while they were together. And I think they ended it at the right time.
I think so too, yeah.
Now, there was something else special about that cast. Is it my understanding that all 6 members of that cast got paid exactly the same amount?
They did. And do you know why?
Go ahead.
Because David Schwimmer said, if we all stick together, we'll do better. If we all stick together, so the 6 of them were all a united front. When they went in to ask for raises, there was all 6 of them together.
Right. It wasn't one of these things where it's like they want parity, where if one gets a raise, I get a raise, even if they're above me. But it goes like this. They all went like this from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, the truth is none of them were well known at all.
Well, the truth is the most well known on that in the beginning was David Schwimmer. They actually wrote that character for him.
Yeah.
They wanted him on the show, and they wrote Ross for him. So he really could have probably negotiated a higher salary by the 3rd season for just himself.
And I think Courtney Cox thought the show was going to be centered more around her character at the beginning. And I think they had thought that too, that she was going to be more of the star. But again, once they brought everybody together, they was like, okay, abandon everything. These people are all right here. And they as a group said, listen, it's the 6 of us or it's none of us. You pay us all the same or you don't. And they were, I don't know what the numbers, do you have any idea how much they were getting paid?
Well, I think they were getting paid $1 million per episode in the final 2 seasons.
Each?
Yes.
So they were paying out $6 million per episode in salaries.
I believe so.
That's a little different from their budget for the first season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like $7,000.
Oh, only saw Courtney and Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark video. Yeah.
She was also on Family Ties, though.
She was on Family Ties. She was Alex Keaton's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Jennifer Aniston was on she was actually on another sitcom when she got Friends. And so for 1 season, she was doing both.
Yes. And Matthew Perry was on a sitcom that he almost didn't get to be Chandler because they wouldn't let him out of the contract. But thank God the show tanked and he was able to get out of it.
Yeah.
And it was about being a baggage handler at an alien airport.
I don't even think that ever made it to the air.
I'm still looking, hoping to find it somewhere deep in the dark YouTube corners of the world. And Jennifer Aniston also had a great movie, which is considered one of the greatest all-time movies ever that she was in, called Leprechaun.
Oh, yeah.
In that. And I'm joking about the all-time greatest movie. It was horrible.
It was horrible.
Horrible. It was. I'm sorry, Jennifer. God bless you. I love you to death, but your acting was terrible.
Well, the whole plot was terrible.
The whole plot was terrible. The Leprechaun was. Everything was terrible.
Everything was terrible. Everything was terrible about that movie. Okay, sorry, Jennifer.
you couldn't get scared. It was supposed to be a scary movie. You couldn't get scared because you were too busy trying not to fall asleep. It was that bad. Her father was a great actor, apparently, on Days of Our Lives, Jennifer Aniston's father, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they brought these people together. They stuck it out through all of those years. They decided when it was going to end together. Mm. It was just, it's a show that it would be difficult to see that repeated, that kind of magic with 6, not 1, 2, or 3, but 6 unknowns coming together, relative unknowns coming together and creating something magical where every one of them was as important as the other one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't side characters. They were all main characters. Mm-hmm. They all got shows, and every once in a while, one of them would not be on the show, and it'd be like, well, where the hell's Joey this show or something, you know? And
yeah, right.
Of course, Matthew LeBlanc, I mean, he used to hurt himself and then show up on the next show with a cast or with a brace on his arm. It's like, they'd have to write it into the script. How did you hurt your arm? You know?
I know.
It was a brilliant show. It brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. If you haven't been a fan of Friends, go back and watch it. It really stands the test of time. It really, really does. Start on season 2.
Season 2?
The first couple of episodes are a little rough. They are.
But they are iconic.
They are iconic.
I still like the first episode.
Oh, no.
When Rachel shows up in her wedding dress.
The whole wedding dress.
Ross is a nervous wreck. Monica has the date of a lifetime who ends up like using her. Like, it's a great episode. How can you not love it?
Just not a fan.
Oh, my God.
Not a fan of the first couple of episodes.
I'm going to watch the first episode tonight.
I could watch them knowing where it ended up now. But the way the characters were at the beginning, if they stayed that way, the show would not have worked.
I don't know.
They needed to evolve the way they did into the characters that they were. And
but that's just like people too, right?
Well, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
People evolve and change and mature. And
I think one of the greatest decisions they made was when Rachel was first on the show. She was supposed to be a little princess who couldn't do anything, and she was daddy's credit cards and this and that. And they played that up a lot in the first episode, really a lot. Mm-hmm. But the Rachel we grew to love was a much more assertive and stand on her own. And she wasn't the Valley girl at all, not even a little. Right. And I'm glad that. But again, that progressed. Great television, great TV, great actors, great writers, and I believe the writers are still on strike. So. Or some of the actors are. There's something going on out there.
Oh.
Support your actors and your writers.
Yeah, they need to make more money. Okay.
Well, there's a big problem with AI. It's a whole different thing. But yeah, but to see something that iconic and to lose a member of a show that was so important to so many people, it feels like losing a member of the family. When Robin Williams died, I really felt it because I've always been connected to like his comedies has always been a part of what I grew up with.
Yeah, sure.
And Matthew Perry, you and I were both shocked the day we found out. I mean, it was when you lose people who have been such a intricate part. I'm sure that when people like Fred McMurray died from My Three Sons and people like that, where people grew up with that person. That was probably tough, but this is our generation.
And I think it hits you a lot harder too because Friends is still being viewed, it's still being talked about, it's still being celebrated. They just did the reunion, so you've not only have you seen them over these 20 years, right? In reruns and in interviews and little short reunions. So, like, it never felt like they were totally gone.
No, because they were always right there. You're right. As you turn the TV on, and there they are. Yeah. And, and if you've seen the episode 100 times, but you still want to sit through it.
Yeah.
Because you want to get to that point where where Joey puts the turkey on his head, or
Rachel comes in her wedding dress.
Rachel, yeah, whatever. And some of the best bloopers ever were from Friends.
Oh my gosh, there are some good bloopers. I gotta say.
Yes, I'll just say the word pivot, and you guys can go from there. Therese, we've come to the end. We're at the hour.
Oh my goodness.
I hope. I know if you're not a Friends fan, this might have been a hard show to watch, or not watchable for you. But if you are, or even have watched Friends a little bit, I hope this little tribute helped you out or made sense to you, because we really wanted to do this. We wanted to do this because it was important that Matthew Perry be honored for the work that he did, and all those years working on Friends. His character was a pivotal point in making all those characters work, and he did a lot of good after he fought off his addictions and his demons. He did a lot of good to try to help other people, and I want people to know that about him. He was trying hard to help other people, and his legacy will continue to help others, I'm sure.
Yeah, they started a foundation. His family started a foundation.
Absolutely, and I know they're going to continue to do well. Read about it. We can learn more about it if Therese and I find out about what you could do for the foundation. We'll let you know. But good people, and I'm sure the cast and the other actors were pretty torn up. I would assume. But Therese, that's it for the show. A lot of fun talking about Friends, I'll tell you.
Yeah, a lot of fun. That went quick.
That went real fast. For everyone out there, thank you for watching. If you're watching a repeat, please remember to reach out to Therese and I. Let us know if there's something you'd like us to talk about. Let us know if you'd like to be on the show with us sometime, possibly. If there's a crime you want to cover, or a relationship issue, or just something fun, we're there to talk about it. We're right here. We're coming to you from the Exes. And Therese, final thought?
That hit me hard. Matthew Perry's death hit me hard. So
Absolutely.
I hope he is peaceful now.
I'm sure that he is at peace, and he's earned it. And he has shared a lot of laughter with us, and probably the best way to honor him, share that laughter with others. And that's probably the best way you can honor him. And if you know somebody with an addiction problem or a mental health issue, help them today, not tomorrow. Don't wait. Get them help today. That's it for Scott and Therese. We want to thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time right here on the Exes. You guys, take care now.